Yo, what up? It's QueseIMC representing Culture Shock Camp, Indigenous Hip Hop. We're live here in Folded Arms Studios, tuning in to the Southwest Spotlight Hall.
This is the Southwest Spotlight.
He was talking about all life. He was talking about the trees. He was talking about the fish, animals, everything that grows. Everything was life. Because we are a family. All life.
Yo, my people, we came a long way. Been holding it down since back in the day when we roamed the plains and we... The region I represent is the Midwest. We call it the Southern Plains. I come from a place called Oklahoma. I'm Pawnee and Seminole. On my Pawnee side, I'm Skeety and Chawi. Those are my two bands. And on my Seminole side, I'm Nogazi, which is a Bear Clan. B-boy break beat, breaking the cycle, breaking stereotypes, carrying pipes, being tribal. But I ain't perfect within my imperfections. I discovered hip hop, man, when I was 7 years old. My brother was a DJ. He DJ'd at one of the main clubs in Oklahoma City. You know, he had all his own clubs. He had his own first hip hop radio station, Z99 FM. His name's Shock B. Shout out to my brother, DJ Shock B, Brian Freejo. And you know, he's the one who pretty much, you know, put me on game on this hip hop game. You know, and you know, he took me to my first hip hop concert, and you know, I got to see Black Male perform, Schoolie D. I got to go to the NWA, Public Enemy, LL Cool J concerts, and I saw the greats, you know, live, and that's what molded me. You know, watching Public Enemy rock, watching, you know, Chuck D, you know, command, you know, powerful energy and conscious energy on stage. Meanwhile, Flavor Flav's running from bass cabinet to bass cabinet, rocking the crowd, saying, "Yeah, boy." At 11 years old, that was me. I wanted to do that. I knew that was a journey that I wanted to go on, you know, rocking crowds. And so here I am today, still rocking.
Kick back and braid it up, feeling good that all of our people are also staying up. We waited up for years while they were hating us.
We started a hip hop event back in the mid 90s, mid to late 90s, called Culture Shock, out of Oklahoma City. We're Culture Shock Camp, and basically what we did, man, is we put on our own Indigenous Hip Hop Summit, Native Hip Hop Summit, the first ever, you know, and got media coverage. We were in the Source magazine in 1999. And we just wanted to represent for our people because there was no avenues for us as Indigenous artists. You know, there was no shows for us. So we decided to do our own show. You know, we promoted it all over the country, and Culture Shock, you know, was one of the premier, biggest, you know, hip-hop, b-boy jams, you know, in the Midwest back in the 90s. And so, you know, we're proud of that history of what we got to, of what we played a part in this, you know, Indigenous hip-hop movement. You know, like, we played a part in it, you know, as Culture Shock. You know, I enjoy rocking out, you know, like to the drums of, you know, break beats and house, you know, getting soulful with the funky soul. And you know, and my music is kind of on that tip, you know, the Indigenous funky soul. I'm proud, you know, I love my culture. I love where I come from. I love the cultural ceremonial way of life. And I've had the opportunity to go through, you know, many journeys in my life to discover beautiful ways of spirituality and use that as a tool, as the root of my hip hop. So tries to improvise peace of mind to find resistance and soul ties, old hurts and old cries in disguise. I just love, you know, the hip hop movement, and being an Indigenous MC. You know, you couldn't just get over by being, you know, I'm a native rapper. It wasn't like that growing up for us, man. We had to be dope. You know, we had to know how to freestyle. We had to know how to battle. So we had to practice our skills, and that was important. What I realized is that, you know, I could use this hip hop, you know, as a mechanism, as a tool, you know, as a spiritual outlet, you know, to tell our story as Indigenous people. And so that was hella important, you know, to use this gift to translate a message that, you know, wasn't being translated, you know, for Indigenous people by an Indigenous person. And so I did it. I used that, and still doing it today. I always wanted to perform, you know, with my people, for my people. I wanted to give back because, you know, I felt that, you know, as an Indigenous artist, it was important to, you know, reach our people. You know, I felt like, you know, the message, you know, of our struggle, you know, the stories of our colonization, oppression, assimilation, and the atrocities that our people went through, that you can translate that message, you know, into a song, you know, and a lot of indigenous people will relate to it because, you know, we feel from our chiksu, you know, our heart. And so if you can put that in a music like hip hop, you know, that it is a powerful medium that reaches all people. You know, I felt that if I could use my gift to empower my people, you know, then it would in some way maybe, you know, help them.
You were the brunt of the jokes and everyone's laugh when you would get up in front of the class. They would
Yeah, I released, actually I'm probably gonna do a re-release of an album I just did called Dev Over 30. You know, it features all the bros, all the homies, you know, like, you know, young Idadis, young MCs, like, you know, Antoine Edwards Jr. We got Wheat to Go on there, brother Art's son, Johnny Polygon, brother Nemesis, and an amazing singer, Comanche singer, Marlon Nanai. You know, there's just, you know, a hell of people on the album. And then, you know, that was a dope project for me. It was just like a spiritual journey for me. Got some new projects coming up. Look forward to those. Some tours coming up. For shows, bookings, collaborations, you can hit me up at QueseIMC@gmail.com. I got a website, QueseIMC.com. And of course, you know, my Twitter, which I show no love because I barely tweet, but QueseIMC on that. Instagram, you know, my Instagram's kind of doing its thing. That's of course QueseIMC. Yo, I want to shout out just, you know, all my people, man, that showed me love. You know, all the people that, you know, stood by me, you know, through the ups and downs. You know, I've had an adventurous, crazy, interesting, a troubling career, but it's been dope. It's been beautiful. I'm still here, still rocking, enjoying it. And, you know, like they always say, you know, we're doing our best we can. And so I just want to shout out, you know, my you know, people's spiritual brothers and sisters, ceremonial brothers and sisters, you know, and you know, the indigenous hip hop movement, you know, bros like, you know, my bro Shock B, Nemesis, Culture Shock Camp Duo, JB, you know, brothers Antoine Edwards Jr., brother Arson, you know, brother Natani, Wheatco, you know, all the true pride music. It's all the homies, you know. So I'm just if there's any I forgot, you know, forgive me. And shout out my sister, you know, Happy Soul, you know, doing her thing. And so yeah, all my friends, all my families, my folks, you know, and all my indigenous people in the Midwest, Oklahoma represent, straight up 39 tribes represent far southern plains land. You know how we do it. Say thought chicks so anyway did all hidi mahi. I hope.
Takes one time to figure it out. Hands up if you know what we talking about. All my people, when you're walking and you're living in doubt. When you talk about keys, yo, you talk about the clouds. The battle is not over, the struggle just begun. Whenever you're walking, keep your head up to the sun. Square up with opposition, stand up a triple threat. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct. Yo, 2000, a police stay in public housing when you're browsing. Surveillance on recorders, scanned at the borders, either on your palm or your forehead. Infrared is read into the World Bank. It's scarier to think the brink of human genocide. To get to overpopulation, something we gotta realize. A world of mass hysteria, lock or break the racial barrier, or get killed off by AIDS or malaria. It's scarier, the feeling inferior to adversity, being at the mercy of Lucifer and his evil fairies, who wanna bury us 6 feet under, die clueless with one another for sure. Everything is obscure, you are oblivious, lazy, it's all shady. The mischievous devil keeps your baby, but they can't make the sacrifice for God, so I nod and pray so my bro can see the way clearly. It only takes one time to figure it out. Hands up if you know what we talking about. All my people, when you're walking and you're living in doubt. When you talk about keys, yo, you talk about the clouds. The battle is not over, the struggle just begun. Whenever you're walking, keep your head up to the sun. Square up with opposition, stand up for triple threat. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct. You you better come correct. Yo, it only takes one time to figure it out. Hands up if you know what we talking about. All my people, when you're walking and you're living in doubt. When you talk about keys, you talk about the clouds. The battle is not over, the struggle just begun. Whenever you're walking, keep your head up to the sun. Square up with opposition, stand up in triple threat. If you ain't coming right, you better come correct.
When I started writing, that was my, my lines were my bombs. These were the bombs.